how terrible our cooperative teachers are. We might do that anyway. I don't know. I have a hard time forgetting the stuff that's happening. But I hate to actually watch myself do this thing. So what I'll do is I'll just share the screen. So all people will see is the screen. Oh, look, there's the screen. Wow. Cool. So meta. Cool. All right, so that's going on, and so we won't have to actually do anything with it. At the end of class, I'll put up a link. I think I'll make and they're changed every few weeks. Google changes something, right? So this week they sent a notice that said that Google Hangouts in the Air is becoming YouTube Live. So I've got to figure out what that means. That's the point. Anyway, so we'll talk about all these cool tools and things that we can do. But for now, let's get started. We need to finish up our presentations from last week. How many people went last week? Okay, so there's a lot more people that need to go. So we want to hear some cool stuff. What did we learn last week? Virgin food.
Fix a motorcycle.
Say again? Yeah, cat tricks. Training your cat.
Red Sea diving.
Diving in the Red Sea. Yeah, that's
Repair a bike.
Repairing motorcycles, absolutely. I don't think I'm quite qualified for that based on that talk, but we're getting there. Well, I'm gonna pass this around. This was the reading that we had came from this book. Just in case you want to see the actual physical book, I'll pass that around. All right, but let's, without any ado, get right into the rest of our things. So then we can vote and see who did the best. I like to make it all a competition. Raises the stakes, right? Cool. All right. So our stuff was down here last week. So if we went to teach us something we don't know from last week, we have quite a few more. Well, I will continue to take my notes in the back here. All right. Who would like to lead us off today? Get it over with. Should be. Let me look. Good question. Right, look, there's our recording. See this week when you present, you get recorded. It'll be famous. You can go viral. Sorry about that. Everybody went last week. I really don't think it's happening. Patrick has his hand up.
I'll go first.
Excellent. So, who wants to go after Patrick?
Okay. So, first, since I didn't include a slide about myself, I'm Patrick Campbell. I'm teaching secondary science, and yeah. So, this is a much slimmed down version. Wait, it doesn't just go there. I have to cut and paste.
Yeah, it looks like you're gonna.
Command C, and then I do that. Command V. Something like that. So, because my other presentation was way too long and I don't really care to be up here for too long, this one's very slimmed down. So, one thing I want to point out is biomimicry in brewing beer. Now, for those of you that don't know what biomimicry is, it's the engineering design that mimics biological life forms. So, you could think of wings on a plane as sort of simulating bats or something like that. It's not the best example, but it's there. So in brewing, we have this thing called a counterflow wort chiller. And wort is something that you make. It's basically a grain infusion. Any tea drinkers here? Any herbal infusion drinkers here? Because it's not called tea if it's just herbs, right? So this is, you basically, what wort is the infused grains that eventually you're gonna throw in some yeast and make the sugars into alcohol, right? So basically, the way this works, hopefully I got this working right. Well, that's great. Oh, okay. So these are just the very ends of the counterflow wort chiller. You have the outgoing hot water. Oh wait, let me just tell you. So this is where the wort's going through. And this is basically straight from a boil kettle. So that's, above 212 degrees Fahrenheit, which is What in Celsius?
100, what is it?
So, but it's going to be above. So, yeah, that's a very simple answer. Boiling point. Incoming hot water, outgoing cooled wort, or hot wort, cooled wort. And that's because you generally hook it up to like a hose or something, and the coldest part of the water surrounding the inner item, which is usually a copper tubing, is meeting the coolest part of the wort. And so we have this in our own body. And one example, which I meant to put in here, although I don't know if I did, is sea turtles, which utilize it very well in their appendages to maintain the warmth. So yeah, I guess I didn't format this really well. So yeah, this would be sort of at the capillary end.
We still talking about beer?
No, now we're talking about biology. But beer is made of living things turned into product. So yeah, this is beer. But don't get all like, savage and carnivorous on me. But I don't think you can do that with blood. So yeah, so if you see here, this is one way in which counterflow works in our body in terms of like towards the surface of our skin, or yeah, I tried to find a good picture of and this is it. Tried to find a good picture of a sea turtle, like the one that I saw in my vertebrate biology class, and for whatever reason I couldn't dig it up. So yeah, it's how it works. It's pretty awesome. And there's other amazing technologies in brewing beer that also you can sort of tie in with biology, aside from the fact that you're using a eukaryotic organism that undergoes fermentation, that carries out fermentation. Any questions, class? No? No? Also, I have a deep passion for social justice, so I decided not to do anything with that. So there we go. Next. Next. Bueller. Yeah, it's like it saves so much water. Oh, that's the other. It saves water, and where to drop? Yeah. Compared to other methods, that's the deal. To modify.
My name's Alex Segovia. I'm doing social science at Lawrence Middle School, 8th grade U.S. history. So before I start with what I'm going to teach about and tell a little story, I went to El Salvador about a year ago, and I was trying to go on YouTube, Netflix, and I figured out that a lot of stuff is like region blocked. So I couldn't go on Netflix, YouTube, everything would say, this video is not available in your country. So then I did a little research and I figured out that you can download something called a VPN, and that's a virtual private network, and that just changes your location to your computer. So if you're in El Salvador, you can change it so that you're in the US, or if you're in the US, you can change it so that you're in Mexico. And so when I came back, I don't have Time Warner Cable. So you can't watch Dodger games if you're not on Time Warner Cable. So a workaround that you can do is you get a subscription for MLB at Bat, which is their service to watch games. It's free for college students right now, by the way, so you just need to put your CSUN email. You got it for free. So if you live in LA, you don't have Time Warner Cable, and you have the app, you can't watch Dodger games at all. They'll be blocked out. So the solution is you purchase a VPN. The one I like using is this one. It's called Private Internet Access, and it's really easy. You literally just download it, and it sets it up, everything for you. And like I mentioned, what it does is it just changes the location of where the computer thinks you are, somewhere else. And the bad news is that it doesn't work for Netflix anymore. It used to work. So yeah, it's not going to work and you get an error message if you try Netflix, but it does work for a lot of other websites. I was trying to watch a documentary the other day that wasn't available in the US for some reason. So I used the VPN and ended up working. So that's it.
Nice. Who's up next? Oh, by the way, since you're CSUN students, you can use your CSUN email to do VPN, and you can convince the world that you're on campus, right? So, which is very handy for things like the library, because you get you can get access to more stuff if you're here. And so if you VPN from home, then you can download lots of stuff that you can't get.
So explain that more. How do you do that, though?
I'm not going to explain it too much, but if you Googled, say, CSUN VPN, there is a page that will describe it in great detail. It's called a virtual private network, and it'll tell you how to install it. You download, I think it's called Pulse or something like that, and it installs on your thing, and you give it your CSUN name and password, and it fools the internet into thinking you're here. Awesome. Yeah, so just Google those two, and you're good to go. And I don't know if it lets you watch Dodger games, hopefully, right? Especially in the playoffs. Come on. So we can see. All right. Who wants to go? Who still hasn't gone? Let's ask it that way. All right. Do you want to go next? All right. How are we going to distinguish Alex's?
Gender.
All right, cool.
So I didn't do as full of an intro page as a lot of people did, but my name is Alex. I'm student teaching at Rio Norte Junior High. I have 2 periods of 8th graders who are either asleep or really hyperactive and really nothing in between. And like you guys can see, I don't know why that's capitalized. I'm guessing it's a subtitle, and that's probably the
You
free
didn't
site.
have any choice.
Yeah. But I did my presentation on where you can find some of the best food in Rome, or Roma, as a lot of the Italians say. And when I was doing my undergrad at UCLA, I spent about half a year studying there. And it was, big culture shock. It was one of my first years at undergrad too. But you discover a lot of places when you're kind of dipped into a new area. So if you ever go on your Europe trips, let me know and I can give you suggestions. But one of my favorite pizza places was called Dar Poeta, and it's in a neighborhood that's called Trastevere. It's where a lot of the local people know to go for food. It's still not as touristy, and you can see outside. Usually it's packed full. A lot of times you have to put your name down and wait, and if they don't like you, they'll skip over your name. So you really do have to wait right in front of them. But yeah, a lot of the places in Rome, you'll see that people are outside trying to draw you in all the time. Those aren't the good restaurants. Anywhere you go in Europe, it's the locals know where to go. So it's all the places that aren't drawing attention to themselves. A lot of people want traditional food, though, not just pizza. They want a couple of courses. And again, you can get sucked into the really expensive restaurants, but they have what's called trattoria, which is an informal restaurant. It's a lot of home cooking, and one of the best ones is called Da Augusto. And when you go there, the menu is different every single day. There's different dishes all the time. You don't have a lot of choices like here. You can choose from 3-4 dishes depending on the meal. And yeah, as you can see, there's graffiti everywhere. It's not pretty by any means in the traditional sense. It's not clean with the fine china and everything like that, but the neighborhood is very artistic, very raw, I'd like to say. And everyone really wants dessert, and obviously gelato when they go to Rome. One of the places I discovered is called Old Bridge, and that doesn't sound Italian at all, but they actually have huge portions, and it's absolutely delicious, and it's right by the Vatican. So that's pretty convenient for people who are tourists. And what I really need right now is some coffee, and this is actually one of the most popular places. It's called Santo Eustachio Cafe, and it's worth the hype, actually. It's one of those places where you go in and you'll see a lot of people standing around the bar. They're not necessarily waiting, they're actually just drinking their coffee. Like the coffee they give you is like less than an inch sometimes. It's called a espresso ristretto, and it's like you literally just take it, have a sip of water after, and you're on your way. So it's not like sitting here at Starbucks for 2 hours while you study. They don't give you those options. But yeah, that's all I have. Did you guys have any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
How long were you in Rome?
About 6 months, and then I've gone back a couple of times since then, and I miss it all the time. So.
All right. A few more we can get to here.
I'll just go.
Go, you gotta do it.
Sorry.
All right. Oh no, I've already messed up. Oh no, did I? It looks differently on this screen, doesn't it? Hold on. All right, hold on. So that's my name, Matana Molina. If you have a hard time remembering it, it's kind of like Katana the sword, or like Madonna, but not. Don't call me Madonna. I won't respond to that. I am teaching 8th grade at Walter Reed Middle School right now, or I'm not teaching yet, but I will be, U.S. history. So since this is relevant for the next couple of weeks of our existence and just in general as teachers, I thought it would be appropriate to do a how-to on how to rule at icebreakers, how to be the best at them, even though I don't know if I'm the best at them.
You're gonna demonstrate.
I'm gonna,
As you go.
exactly. It's like a teach on teach, like very detailed. All right. So first one, rule number 1, you gotta embrace the corniness. This is silly. This is awkward for sure. And something that I personally dreaded doing. I get very anxious thinking about like, what are you good at? What was interesting about you? Like, I don't like talking about myself very much. But this is a time when you kind of embrace that awkwardness, kind of bask in it, enjoy it. So I would say that. First step is acceptance. Accept that this is gonna be not great, that it's gonna be a little bit awkward, that you're gonna make a fool out of yourself maybe. Rule number 2. I would say you wanna kind of be a little different. You wanna stand out a little bit. Definitely, to me, the traditional icebreaker, saying that you don't remember what you did last summer, like figure it out. If you didn't do anything this summer, think about what you did last summer. If that doesn't work, think about what your friend did this summer that was really awesome and cool. Because no one really wants to hear that you didn't do anything. Like that's not an appropriate answer. For instance, maybe I had a stationary bike accident this summer. Maybe I didn't, but to you, that's something different. Rule number 3. Be yourself, and if you can't make yourself smile about this icebreaker, then there's really no point in doing it. Yeah, it's silly, and you just want to make yourself laugh. If you can't make yourself laugh about your own icebreaker, no one else is. So do everyone a favor and just have fun with it. And that's my icebreaker. I'm assuming no one has questions, though, right? You don't need to go over everything. All right. I'll close it until someone does it.
I guess I'll go next. You wanna go next, right? All right.
down the list, there's really interesting stuff we need to learn about, like doing the splits. There you go. Yeah. Down at the very bottom, by the trash can there.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. So.
Hi, my name is Rob Wood, and I'm a student teacher, and I'm currently doing 7th grade world history at Holmes Middle School. And before we get to the topic of my presentation, I wanted to just give a little bit about my background. I'm from Monmouth County, New Jersey. I illustrated the. Are you also from Monmouth County?
I'm from Somerset County.
Oh,
Can you do an accent if you need to?
it's interesting. The Jersey accent is, well, it's different depending on which part of Jersey. It's basically there's almost like three different regions: North, Central, and South. And I'm from Central New Jersey, which is Springsteen country. Bruce Springsteen is probably the best known figure, and also at my high school, another person well known from my area is more recently is Cal Penn, the guy who started Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. And I graduated from William & Mary with a bachelor's in global studies and in Hispanic studies, and then from Georgetown with an MA in Latin American studies. And I want to talk about, now I'm not going to get into the whole true story behind the film Stand and Deliver, but I'm going to get into some interesting facts regarding the film. It's my favorite film. It's the true story of Jaime Escalante, and a teacher at Garfield High School in LAUSD who made a difference teaching students calculus. And what's interesting is that some people describe it as an essential Los Angeles movie, but one of the key individuals involved in making the film is from my state. The producer Tom Muska, he grew up in Berkeley Heights, which is in Union County, illustrated there, and he graduated from Rutgers. He graduated Rutgers undergrad before he went to UCLA. And ETS is based in which is the antagonist in the movie, is based in Princeton, and he incorporated that into him as well. And he taught AP Calculus, and here's a bio on Jaime Escalante, and he was born in La Paz, Bolivia. He immigrated to the United States in 1963, but before he immigrated, he actually taught, which is one of the things that isn't explained in the movie. He actually taught in Bolivia in several mathematics classes, and he ended up he first worked at a restaurant, washing dishes, and then he worked as a technician at the Burroughs in Los Angeles before becoming a teacher. He went to Cal State LA, becoming a teacher, and the film focuses on his tenure at Garfield between 1980 and 1982, and the incident in which students scored so well that they were accused of cheating. And ETS investigators came to the school. He pushed back. He proved to everyone that they did not cheat, and through retaking the test with only 1 day to study. And the result of his incredible accomplishments was that he was honored by a number of presidents, including Reagan, Bush 41, and Clinton. In 1988, when the movie was released, Vice President George H.W. Bush picked Garfield High School to campaign at on Cinco de Mayo. And I think I have a little 7-second clip of that.
And Bush, that the bark he hears out there is because he's in bulldog land. Esteemed honor to.
Just thinking about it. All right, try that again.
Okay.
adjust the volume because that almost seemed like it was a little loud.
The bush that the bark he hears out there is because he's in bulldog land.
Next time you go
Distinct
there.
honor to
Yeah, so just go back to
Okay.
use. So, where it says play from the current side.
Okay.
Oh, just there you go. That one.
Okay. And one of the other interesting things about the movie that a lot of people thought was surprising was that even though the film is titled Stand and Deliver, he actually never tells the students to literally stand and deliver. And the reason for this is because the title was changed at the last minute it was originally titled and filmed Walking on Water, but a lot of people thought that the executives thought that title wouldn't interest people as much, as younger people as much as the title Stand and Deliver, and that would give it almost more of a religious connotation as opposed to a more contemporary one, and the song was released by the band Mr. Mister, best known for songs like Broken Wings. You guys? So,
It's an old one.
yeah. And it was released and was played through the credits.
People have seen that movie. You know what I'm talking about? It's definitely worth seeing. Rob?
Yeah.
Must see, would you say?
I would say so.
And you could use the VPN to download it. So, absolutely. There you go. That's used. Yeah, there was an interesting story in the paper last year about a kid, not at Garfield, but at one of the nearby high schools, I think it was Santee, who got a perfect score on the AP Calc exam. What was it?
It was in Lincoln Heights.
Lincoln Heights, thank you. And then it turned out that the teacher there was just sort of the reincarnation of this one. It was doing a fantastic job.
Well, before I get into my totally unrelated topic of what Robert just went over, I just want to mention something. Way back when I was an undergraduate at UCLA, I also went there to the Graduate School of Architecture and Planning, and I heard Jaime Escalante speak on campus. James Olmos introduced him. At the time, I was working for a politician, State Senator Art Torres, and so I was really active politically. I was very intrigued with how he was being so successful because there were so few Latino students at UCLA. So I decided, though, I would pursue my career in architecture and urban development, but he was always in the back of my mind. So I was inspired to actually become a science teacher, which is what I'm doing right now, because of Jaime Escalante. So I was it was very nice, Robert. And just as I'm starting, the student population, just to kind of dovetail on that a little bit, at LAUSD, as you know, is majority. I'm going to have Latino students because if you look at the demographics, LAUSD, some schools are as high as 95%. It's astounding. And there's so few science teachers or teachers in general that represent the community. And I think that's relevant to teaching. I think those of us who do have that background, I feel a responsibility to connect with the students, to facilitate their learning, and to connect with them, and just so they feel empowered to be whoever they want to be, because oftentimes in society you don't see that. Okay, so mine's very light and very simple, but there's one aspect of this one I'll elaborate on. So my school is Madison Middle School in North Hollywood, 6th grade science and biology. I was born in Visalia, and I don't know where you know where that is. It's ag territory in Central California. It's a gateway to the Sequoias. This is Sedway. This summer I went back to Sequoia National Park, and I was really sad. I was sad because I grew up there, summers, weekends, rivers, snow, and now the redwoods are dying. There's swaths of acres and acres and acres and acres the trees are all dying. And you just go, why? It's because in part it's global warming, and the other part is the air pollution in the Central Valley. It's probably the worst even in Southern California, it's worse there. So I, as a science teacher, I'll be advocating to the kids to go to the national parks, to see them, to enjoy them, because I don't know, they're going to be here forever. So another one of my favorite topics is food. And so I wanted to just talk about just how do you make guacamole now. We know what the ingredients are, but something I like to underscore here, and it's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, is that the food that we eat growing up in the valley is pretty poor quality. And if I went there to visit my parents who still live there, and there's no organic food there, none. I look everywhere, I want to buy it, but I can't do it. And the emphasis here is that our food source is majority from Central California. And so there's a huge difference in taste in the food. And if you try this and compare it to like a non-organic, there is a big difference. The avocados, is particularly the cilantro who has the spices, and the tomatoes. I've actually grown some tomatoes, and there's a huge difference in taste and flavor compared to non-organic ingredients. And one of the other things I want to do in schools, I'd like to advocate for better school lunches that would actually use organic food. What a thought, right? So anyway, so on good on Friday afternoons with guacamole or margaritas. Okay, thanks.
I'm one of those cilantro challenge people where I cannot taste it at all. I've tried my wife crazy. I never had it, and she's like, "Where's the cilantro?"
Okay, so hi, I'm Brittany Drucker, not spelled like Britney Spears. A lot of people do that. And I'm teaching 7th grade math at Hale Middle School, where the boys put pencils on their heads and make animal noises. And I don't know why. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make the best brownies. I know sometimes people are like, I don't want to bake, I'm not good at it, but this, like, anybody can do. Even my dad can do it, and he does not do any baking. So step one, you have to buy the Hershey's Betty Crocker Ultimate Chocolate Brownie Mix. It is the best one, in my opinion. We don't have time to make any brownies from scratch or anything from scratch. So, like, buy the mix, and it's way better than Ghirardelli. Ghirardelli, I don't know, it's just not cooked at all. Baked at all. And it's from Smart and Final. Target used to have it, but I haven't seen it recently. So you can get it at Smart and Final or maybe Costco. And the necessary ingredients. So on the back of the box, it pretty much tells you what you need. So you just add to the mix water, oil, and eggs, and you mix it. Follow the proportions. It's pretty easy. And yeah, 1, 2, 3. And my little secret, I don't tell a lot of people, but, you know, we're with each other for a whole year. So I'll tell you guys, add extra chocolate chips, because the mix comes with a few, but it's not a whole lot. So if you add extra chocolate chips, it makes it extra chocolatey, and most of us love chocolate. So do that. And the final product will look something like that in the bottom. And you have to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. After you mixed all the batter together, you put it in your pan. And please use baking spray, because if it sticks, then you have crumbly brownies. And let it bake for 35 minutes, and then it's good to go. But don't just have plain brownies. You have to put something on top. You could put powdered sugar. You could put any sort of candy, like Oreos, crumbled Oreos on top, whatever you like.
whatever your heart desires. And now, for your next holiday party, you know what you want to bring. Those.
Excellent. All right. Got a few more. Wait. Are people trying to hold that to be the last one, thinking that they will win their last? Ooh, it's not gone yet. Now is the time.
Okay, it's gymnastics time. I know the Olympics are now over, but are the Olympics motivating you to enhance your flexibility? Same. Let's learn how to do a split like Simone Biles.
Oh, no.
Okay. Maybe. So my name is Nicole Cicero, and I am an art teacher at Northridge Academy High School, and right now I'm teaching painting. So, how to do a split. It's all about the stretching. Now, I always get, well, I'm not flexible, so how am I going to do a split? Well, you have to stretch. So the most important thing is to warm up, get your muscles warm so they're easily stretched. So step one, stretch your hips in a lunge position. So you have to stretch your hamstrings and your hip flexors first. And you have to kind of choose which one is your dominant leg. Mine is my right, so I usually put my right leg in front for my right leg split. Step two, stretch your hamstrings more. So I never have done this particular position, but I will demonstrate. So usually I get down on one knee and I kind of just lean forward and stretch the back of your leg. Step three, stretch your quads. I usually do this stretch, just pull a leg, stretch out those quads. And then number four, slide down. Males, you can do this too. Don't think that just because you're a guy, you can't do it. Those male gymnasts do it just as well as the females, and you are always judged on your toes, so don't forget to point them. And congratulations, you're ready for the Olympics. And now you can be just like Simone Biles and Lori Hernandez and just get ready to do some flips. And that's it. Gold medal. It's pretty simple. I can demonstrate. So first stretch, second stretch, third stretch, and that's it, guys. Oh, wow. Yeah.
All right, so after we win our gold medals, we're gonna have a michelada. So how many of you have had a michelada before? Really?
What is
Okay, I'll show you. So it's, well, first of all, I'm Denise. I am a future history teacher. I am currently at Sutter Middle School teaching world history. I'd rather be doing U.S. history, but whatever. All right, so michelada, and I'll show you at the very end what it looks like. Some people compare it to a Bloody Mary, but it's not a Bloody Mary. So these are the ingredients. You're gonna need a Mexican lager beer. I don't know if that's redundant, lager beer. I don't know, but Modelo's usually the best beer to use for michelada, but you can use whatever you want. Corona. Some people use Bud Light. I wouldn't use Bud Light. I like Pacifico. You're gonna need 1 lime. You're gonna need clamato. You're gonna need Worcestershire sauce or jugo Maggi. Jugo Maggi is that one at the corner. Most people aren't very familiar with it. And tahini, salt. I use the Himalayan pink salt and a large beer glass. I like to use that one. I don't like beer mugs. They're just too heavy. And then tapatio is optional. You can also use sriracha. It's really good with sriracha. And the looks on your face, like, oh, that sounds disgusting. A lot of people don't like micheladas, so I don't blame you. All right, so the next step is to combine the tahini and the salt on a flat surface, kind of like, and you know, you're gonna moisten the glass with the lime, and kind of like a margarita, where you salt the rim. Then you're gonna pour about a quarter of the clamato into the glass. And I mean, it really depends on your taste. Some people like to put half of the clamato. I don't like to. It's full of like high fructose corn syrup, all that stuff. So I don't like to use too much. Then you're gonna squeeze about half the lime into the cup. You can use the entire lime if you want. It really just depends. Then you're gonna add 2 to 3 dashes of the Worcestershire sauce or salsa Maggi. And then at this point, if you want to make it spicy, you can add the tapatio or the sriracha. And again, that's totally up to you. Stir the ingredients, tilt your glass, and you're gonna pour your beer slowly. What's that? And then if you would like, you can put more tahini on top of the drink directly. And that's what it looks like. So go home, make one. I think you're gonna really like it. If you like spicy foods, if you like Bloody Mary, I think you'd enjoy it. I'm surprised more of you have it. I should have brought some.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I close it? I think I closed it on. Closed it on one.
The next one's not here, but yeah, she has to teach us next time how to cut hold.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Try stuff.
How about
No, that's himself the video.
He's up there. You're done.
Oh, that's not.
I think I closed out the wrong window. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Silly me.
Let's see, here's a quick, easy way to get back. If you guys haven't done this with your browsers, right? Most browsers have a history function. So if you go to your browser history, and they should have a recently closed function. So you go here, jump back to, I didn't mean to close that window. Jump right back into it there.
So, you're Rob. You're also Robert. Robert in this class? Somebody, the one that says how they got. Yeah, that's me. That was yours. Yes. Oh, I didn't recognize the name. That's the statement. Yeah.
How do you?
That's changing the concept of God.
I was like, oh, that sounded like desire to do.
Is that it? What do you click?
So where it says slideshow at the top, over right there. There you go. And then play from start.
Oh,
But it will look different on there than
Hey, my name's John, or Jonathan. I teach Spanish 1 at Hart High School in Santa Clarita. I'm taking over class on Monday, so it's a busy weekend. Spanish 1 so far, it's like kindergartners for high schoolers. We talk about how to say what I like to do. I like to play basketball. I like to read books. I like to yada, yada, yada. So it's really simple. The way that I learned Spanish was by living abroad in Spain. And while I was in Spain, one of the local foods that I've grown accustomed to and started to like was Spanish omelets, what they call tortilla española. Some of you might have had it. It's really good, but it's sort of an acquired taste because I serve at room temperature. So room temperature eggs is sort of weird at first. But it's basically like an egg pizza or an omelet pizza. So they cook So what you need is 8 to 12 eggs. You cook as many eggs basically as you could fit in your biggest skillet in your kitchen. And then you need potatoes, onions, olive oil, and salt and pepper. So it's really simple, not a lot of ingredients. Wash your hands first, of course. Can't neglect our hygiene. And from this point on, no more petting the dog. Because again, you'd have to rewash your hands. The potatoes are best if you cut them up into like thick coin shapes. They cook best that way. And so chop everything up and mix up the eggs in a big bowl and cook the eggs for about cook the potatoes in olive oil for about 30 or 40 minutes until like the Swedish chef. I know that guy. Cook the potatoes until like they just get soft enough that you can chew through them, that they're edible. And then you want to just dump the eggs into the skillet with the potatoes in there. And let that cook for 5 or 10 minutes until like the edges around the sides start getting white. You can see that it's getting cooked. And so once it gets cooked on the bottom, of course, we have to cook the top too. And so this is the tricky part. Flip, right? Because basically there's still a lot of liquid in there. So if you start tilting it too far, you end up with a counter full of raw egg, which is not fun, except for the dog. Dog likes that. So basically the trick is to take the skillet and get a plate that's about similar size and carefully shimmy it onto the plate. Carefully, again, that's in stars. Because you could tear the egg that's already cooked, or you could end up with a counter full of egg. And so once you have it on the plate, then you invert the pan on top of it and back on the skillet. And that's it. Give it a couple more minutes. I guess, is there anything else? Yeah, slice it up like a pizza into little slices. In Spain, they serve it with a little slice of bread, and they usually drink wine or beer with it. So, yeah, try it out sometime.
Excellent. All right, so we're still missing Vanessa. Everybody else has gotten to go? Yes?
Yes.
Correct on this? All right, very good. We need to commence voting. All right, so I've made up a little voting for you, and I have it in my Google Drive. Let's see, how can I get this to you? All right, so this is my infinite Google Drive that has way too many things in here. But if I go to recent, I have this SED 514 presentation votes. Right? Now, this is a website, and I need to get it to you so that you can answer my questions. Any ideas on how to do it? There's a few ways. I can share it. I can share it in some way. How would I do that?
You don't show us this several times. We add all our contacts to one giant class list and then share to the class list.
That would work with anything other than a form. Yeah, I probably could. Never tried it. Forms are slightly different than other parts of Google's in that they're sort of open to everybody. Let's see. I think if there's a way to email people. Anyway, I don't want to do that. But that would be. I think that's a working possibility. Yeah. What else? Can you email a link? I could email a link. Yeah, the link to this. I mean, I don't know if you can see it at the top there, but it's incredibly long. Right? I could write that on the board. That would be a bad thing, right? It's too long. People are going to mess it up. Right? Aha! I can do a tiny URL. What's a tiny URL? It's just a real short URL. I know it sounds cool. But the idea is you want people to be able to type in a URL, and it needs to not be something super long that they're going to mess up. So you need something that's nice and short and simple. There's several ways, as you can imagine. Anything that's useful, there's always lots of ways to do it. TinyURL is a company, and you go to tinyurl.com and you paste your thing in, and they give you a link. And there's a few other ones. There's Bitly and other things. But Google has their own, and since we do so much stuff in Google anyway, it seems really useful. The way you do it in Google is you go to type the word Google as short as possible, right?
and that would be GOO.GL. Right. Just those 5 letters. Here, I think I can put it up on one of these so you can actually read that. Go away. So it's GOO.GL like this. And I make this bigger. All right, that's readable, right? All right, very simple. Google, the shortest possible way to write Google. And that gets you up to this website. It's called the Google URL Shortener. And all you do is you take your presentation. Now, this is actually not the page I want you to go to. This is the page where you edit your form, and we're going to learn how to do all this stuff. But I have to go to the preview mode. So this is the page I want you to go to, and it's an even longer link. So I take this really long link, and I go to my URL shortener, and I paste it right here, and it gives me a short URL. Google's always changing things. This is a new screen. It never used to pop up like this. All right, so this one is giving me is goo.gl/ and then it's, I'm gonna just copy this, put this into my other thing. And I say done. All right, so now I can put it in here where it's easy for everybody to see it. Oh, come on now. Give me that. Now that last letter is gonna be tricky. It looks like an O. I'm gonna assume it's an O, not a 0. Yeah. Cool. All right. So that's all we need to type because we've got a URL shortener, and that is something even a middle schooler can handle most of the time. Short URL. So what I want you to do is to go ahead and type this in. There's another thing I could have done. What's the other thing I could have done? I could have also done what? I could have put it on the class webpage. We've got a class webpage that everybody can access. I can paste it onto there, and you can click it on there. That's normally what I would have done, but I wanted to show off and teach a thing or two. All right, so anyway, so let's go to this. So it's goo.gl and lowercase u, capital M, XD, capital N, capital O. Does that seem to work? Does it get you to something that looks like this? All right, so before you go and answer everything for me, here's how this works. You are going to rate each and every presentation. So you have to remember, what was that thing about the lakes in Minnesota? All right, so you got to think back. I want you to rate every single one of them except your own. What do you do if it's your own? You're going to put that one, that last column there. So you should check one of them to that. Yeah, of course. I apologize for that. I can fix it right away.
AZIN.
AZIN, what did I put?
AZIN.
Oh, like Aziz Ansari? Sorry about that. I'll fix that right away. All right, so I want you to rate everything twice. The first one is how little did you know about it? The idea was to teach things that you don't already know. So I want, if you didn't know about it, that gets a 4. If you, sorry, 1. Oh no, I did it backwards. Okay, that's fine. We'll go with what it says. If you've never heard of it, that's a 1. If you already know all about it, it's a 4. So lower numbers are better than that one. And then in the second one, it's going to be the opposite because I wasn't paying attention. Oh wait, is there a second one?
Yes, there is one.
Oh yeah, there it goes. I just keep scanning over. All right, the second one, it says, how motivated are you to do this thing? Are you ready to go out and fix a ninja? And so it's a question of how much do you need to make brownies and things like that. So and again, it kind of flips the ratings a little bit. Sorry about that. All right. Go to. I have fixed the spelling of Azim's name, but it's too late for y'all.
It's biz-based.
Say it again?
It's biz-based, not biz. TH.
Thank you. Somehow my spell checker didn't catch that. I don't know how the spell checker didn't catch that. Apparently this space is not included. Thank you for that. All right, but anyway, those edits will be seen probably by no one. But for the record, it's changed. Oh, you don't need to do what I did. All you need to do is type in this link up here. I did it.
Oh, I see.
So up here, there's slash. So it's GOO.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, I got it.
Oh, sorry about that last thing. I was trying out different question formats. Just ignore that. Does it make you click something? Okay, so what I need. Cool. I see. Need to- All right, we have 16 votes in. A few more to come still. I think we're at 20 people here. Google makes these nice graphs for us and updates them in real time.
You said ignore the last one?
Yeah.
So that's when.
That blank question at the very bottom. It does not mean to ignore who was last, Jonathan's. Yours was last? Yeah. That's not what that means. Motorcycle chain tightening. Looks like it's in the lead. Although good food in Rome is right up there. Nobody wants to try the driver ants. I'm shocked by that. It's very low. Awesome. All right. So what's a good way to figure out the winner on this? I guess we should we'll just average these, right? All right. So what Google does is you make a form like this, and then people answer the form, and it dumps all the data into a spreadsheet. So as you can see, this is being filled out as we speak. And a spreadsheet is nice because it has all these great spreadsheety things. And one of them is that you can quickly do math on them, right? So anybody remember what average is? You just type average. Like too complicated, right? And then you have to put an equal sign. We're gonna go over this like right at the end of the semester. And then you just average this whole thing. Oh, It's that whole spelling thing.
Can you create a link to the file without the submitted link form to just go back to the statistic?
Oh, you want a link to this page? Oh, I could do that.
Just to see the graph.
Oh, but the graph, I put a link. You might have to refresh your page. I added a link called results from voting. Yeah, so you can see the graphs on that. I think. Hopefully you can. You might have to refresh your page. But that's a little slightly different than this. But I'm going to quickly average up all the. Oh, we can't tell who's who, can we?
Mind jumping right back to the.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry about that. I thought I did that right.
Oh, you gave up the graphs.
Okay. So let's see here. So on the first one, let's see. The first one wanted a low number, right? How much did you already know about people? So low numbers, Brian's, this is Brian's motorcycle, was 1.3. Brock's Lakes was 1.6. The Red Sea Diving was also 1.6. Is anything lower than those? Oh, this one's very close. The Italian food in Rome, also very close. Oh, well, this will be second place. Oh wait, no, that's the second one. All right, cool. All right, so it looks like Ninja wins the least known thing of all the presentations. Well done. All right, awesome. And in terms of how much motivation people are to do the next thing, let's see, what do we have here? Who's above a 3 on this? This one you want to get higher. So 3.25, that was for VPN, watching Dodger games on the VPN. Excellent. 3.5 is Italian food in Rome. We're all there. Can you get there on the metro? All right, one of these days. Cool. All right. The brownies were very high, but not as high as Rome. And the tortilla española was probably second place. I think there. All right. Very good. So Italian food, the number one thing everybody wants to try, and I think it comes with a trip to Rome. Excellent. All right. Well done. Good. Nice job with the presentations. Was that fun? Yeah. Excellent. All right. So, did I win the icebreaker? No. Did people enjoy it? I don't know. But you want your icebreaker to be fun, enjoyable, and not make people stress out too much. Although it is always a little scary getting up in front of your peers and stuff. But usually, when you have something to talk about that people don't know, that's easy. I don't. Because you're giving information. And we got to use PowerPoint and or Google Slides or the Prezi, right? So we got to use some presentation tools. What do we know about presentation tools? They're useful, right? What are they good for? Presentations. Cool. So if you want to do, is that something we're going to do a lot?
I'd say visual aids. I would say organizing thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They weren't engaging, then somebody just like talking.
That it could, you can add a little bit to a discussion.
They can be takeaways. It's physical.
Oh, so that people can keep that those slides and they can have that for their notes. Absolutely, that's a good point. What's bad about them?
You might need a tech guy.
You might need the tech guy after this class. You will not. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, you get times that you become a crutch instead of connecting with the students. You're kind of focused on your
Can they be bad that we had this experience? Yeah.
Yeah, it can be pretty boring just because people put up a whole lot of text in a paragraph, and they're talking about one aspect of their thing, and you're trying to read it, but it doesn't line up with what they're saying, so you're kind of like, I don't know what I should do. Should I read it, or should I just do that? And then you just tune out.
Yeah, like long speeches in general are not ideal, right? So we need to sort of talk about lecturing. Are we going to lecture? Some it happens, right? You've seen it. It happens in class. We're going to tell it. Should we spend the entire period lecturing? No. Right? What if we did? What happens? Students get bored. I mean, keep in mind they've got 6 periods. If all 6 periods are sitting there listening all day long, they're just going to go insane. I mean, that is just a recipe for that. So we know that for our period, for our time of the day, we can't have them sit and listen. That's just not possible for kids of a certain age. It's not really possible for us either, right? I don't really like listening to long lectures. I don't know about y'all, unless they're really and they mostly aren't. Right? We're not that great. I mean, even TED Talks are only 10 minutes. Right? That's all we can handle. So we want to keep the things to minimum. PowerPoint can be your lecture can make it better, can make it worse because oftentimes you're turning the lights down, you're focusing everybody's attention on the screen, and and they're sleeping, and you can't tell what they're thinking because you can't really see them. You're focused on your slide and what you're going to say, and you're not interacting with the same way. So they can not only can they be a bad crutch, especially if people put all their notes on the thing and then they start reading them and they forget what they're supposed to say. But they can actually make it worse by basically telling students it's time to tune out. Right? The lights are down. The stuff that's going on, it's on a PowerPoint slide somewhere. You can read it later. So stop it. What you want to do is be really interactive, right? I mean, you've seen this in classrooms. Is the more that you're getting people to respond to you, asking questions, getting people engaged in the ideas and thinking, the better it's going to be, and the more the students are going to learn, right? So a lot of what we're going to do in this class is to be focused on that engagement part. How do we get that engagement? Am I engaging you right now? Maybe. I see some nodding. You're all being polite. That's good. I like that. So I put up this little reading here. We're not going to have time to read it today, but just in case you're interested in, it talks about some of the problems of PowerPoint.
Yeah,
if it loads, is it not loading?
No, I tried it earlier.
That is no fun. Maybe they took it. I got it off a website, and all right. I will fix that link. It's a paper by Edward Tufte. Anybody know who Tufte is? He's basically sort of the big name in visual design of information, and like his books are these beautiful sort of coffee table books about how you should make graphs and how you make designs. And so somebody had asked him to write about PowerPoint. He's like, he hates it. They all look the same and they're all organized in boring ways. And it doesn't talk so much about the teaching part of it, but it talks about all the sort of bad habits people get into with PowerPoint. I will find that link for us, and so we can play around with it. Cool. But so how can we get our students more engaged? What are some useful things that we can do?
You can create a good lesson plan with read, write, do.
Okay. Read, write, do. So elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, mixing it up. So at times they're listening, at times they're reading, at times they're working in groups.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
2 things I've noticed right away is, one, they like to move. So in my classroom, they literally have them doing scavenger hunts. There are problems around the room. So they're doing that, but moving.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is just trying to put everything within a context that's good for them. I'm teaching for my first time next week, and I did their entire lesson on Pokeballs instead of rocks and blocks, which are the traditional things used. So it's like,
all right, you're hip to the times.
not really.
Caitlin, you're gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say making things like group competitions.
Oh yeah, competition. So a little voting, a little challenge there. Yeah.
This relates to what Kate was saying, but sort of having students do presentations or working in groups to come up with things, including possibly get some skits and presentations.
Cool. So acting out, kind of getting people moving, like we were saying. What about questioning like this? What we're doing right now? Is that good? Yeah. It's kind of good if you're going to answer, right? What if you don't feel like answering? Then you just listen to everybody, or you're waiting for everybody to be done talking. Do students do that? Yeah. Class discussion. How can we fix that?
Okay. There's actually an app out there called Randomly. If you put all your students' names in, it randomly picks a student, and you're using tech, which the kids think is cool. And so it's not always
they're going to think that's cool for about 5 minutes.
Well,
and then they call on them, and it's not going to be cool anymore.
Otherwise, it's always like 3 or 4 students just raise their hand, and that's it.
Right. So they're picking on students randomly,
Right.
and using an app for it sounds cool. I mean, in the old days, they would have done popsicle sticks. That's a big thing in elementary schools, or you just pick names out of a hat. That can be good, but you still are not going to get everybody, right? So some people are just sort of hoping you don't call on them. And so they're just going to sit there quietly. What if we could get everybody in the class to answer all the time? Can we do that? Can we do it verbally? There's not enough time, right?
You can use Google Sheets for Google Classroom.
Yeah, okay. Are you in science? Did Hare show you how to do this?
Yeah.
I see. I thought so. He's always stealing my thunder, that guy. Cool. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something we like to call a quick write, right? Which is where we're using some pickline. And there's a lot that we've been doing this with Google for a few years, but now there's all these new programs out there that you can do it, like Socrative and Pear Deck, and there's all sorts of new for-profit companies showing up, figuring out how to do this stuff, and make you pay for it. Now, those are slightly better than these, but it's free to use Google, and so we can do it like this. So all we need is a basic Google Sheet. This is like an Excel spreadsheet, just like we were looking at before. And all I have to do to make it a fancy quick write is put the word name at the top. And I'm going to call this right. All right, so I put a name on it. This is, by the way, this is where they put a file name in Google, and then you can just type it away. Well, oh, I need to do something else, right? What else do I need to do? I need to share it with you, right? Okay, so I need all my emails. Where's my where did that survey go we did last week? It's been too long. All right, first day survey. That's what I want. So I have your survey on here, and I have all your emails on my list. I hope we could change these if there's something that we should do differently. And I'm going to copy all your emails. And where do I put those? Does anybody remember? Yeah, I go to this blue share button up here. This is kind of the magic of sharing stuff. And I'm going to share it here with all the people on my list. Paste. All right, and so hopefully your name's on there somewhere. And I'm going to send you a little email. You don't really, oh, that's right, we did this last time. Is it Josh? Is that one yours? Wait, who's Yang? Yeah. What's your email?
Oh, JH Yang.
It is. Okay. Oh yeah, because you're just on there twice. Okay. All right. Does anybody know they want a different email than the one they gave me last week? Is he? Is it the Gmail one?
Yeah.
Okay, because we did that. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna fix that one on the list, so I have that permanently. Yes.
And same thing, last name, BATCH.
Okay, cool. Was there another one? I know we did a few of these last week. Wait, Jonathan. Sorry, Norris. See that? Okay. What did I do wrong there? Did I spell your name, Jonathan, wrong? Sisan, that would be helpful. All right, we'll get this down. I'll get all these connected. All right, so send again. All right. Oh, fine. There we go. I did it wrong again? Oh, there's 2 R's.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's so long.
7, right? 1, 2, 7. All right, cool. All right, we're getting it done. All right, so now I have now shared it with you. If you were on there, oh, you weren't on there before. So you would either find this in your email, or you would go to the part in your Google Drive where you say "shared with me," and you should see that document right there. What was it called again? 514 Quick Write. All right, and what we're going to do, I'll actually just put this on the course webpage in a minute, but I want to make sure we can find out how to access these things in multiple ways. So now you're on there, and I can quickly, let's just start up here with Angela, and you're going to be row 2. So go ahead and put your name in row 2. Cool. All right, so if you're not there yet, go to your Google Drive. How do you get to Google Drive? Just type drive.google.com, that one, and go to where it says shared with me, and you should see 514 Quick Write. And Angela's going to be in row 2, and Mildred's in row 3, and Denise. I was getting there. And then and you're where are we on? You're on 5, 2, 3, 4. Daniel's going to be 5. You don't see it in yours? Okay, so I may not have your right email. Okay, but you will eventually be 5. And I'm forgetting. All right, I've totally forgotten. Who's in the back? Daniel, who's next to you? Christine, thank you. That's who it is. Cool. You're 6, 7, 8, 9, and then Alex is up here. Going to be 10. Brittany 11. 12, 13, 14, 15. Brian, you're 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Patrick,
22.
You're row 22. Cool. All right. Who is not finding access to this? Do not have access to this. Give me your email one more time. What are you logged in as? Whatever you're logged in as. Okay.
Yeah,
that's the one. Okay. Who else? Daniel? Okay. Cool. Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, my.csun? Okay. Cool. Anybody else? All right, let's try that. So check again to see if you're there. Cool. Angela, have you found it? No. What do you love doing? That was the last time. These two. Okay, so hopefully it'll be there soon.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, I just added you there. Okay, cool. So now we have this thing, and we can say here, so now if I ask you a question, I can get everybody to answer. So So it's not just about who the random person gets picked on, but everybody can answer it, and we can see each other's answers. So if somebody has a really brilliant answer, we can all find out about it without having to get lucky with the random stuff. Cool. All right. So so now I need a question. So we were talking about how do we engage students, and so that one's going to be too. The trick is to find a question that is just long enough for a cell without making it too long. You don't want people to write too long an answer, right? All right, so we'll try this one. So I wrote a question there. How long can you lecture before kids get sleepy? All right, so what's your thought on it? How long do you think you can get away with it? All right. So let's say I want to get to the do part of the read, write, do. When I have my students do some work, what's a good way to do that?
Oh, yeah.
Should I have them work individually, silently? No. Maybe not.
The beginning, maybe.
What do you think? What are some of the people that said no?
I think maybe before you have them do individual work, maybe have them engage in a group, kind of brainstorm ideas possibly, and then have them work on their own.
So you're saying group, a little group activity? Yeah.
I actually, it depends on the subject, but I kind of like the reverse, to split a problem, for math at least, into different steps. Have them try the first part on their own, and then talk in a group to see what other people
Mm-hmm. There's a fancy name for that. What's the fancy name?
There's a
It's just a cute name. Have you heard of think, pair, share?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So you think first, you work individually first, then you share it with another person, and then maybe you share it with a larger group. It doesn't have to be exactly like that, but basically what you're saying is do some individual thought and then start sharing it and discussing it with the group. Exactly. That's pretty good. I want to see what people say about this. What is the advantage of working groups? And you don't have to give me all the advantages. Just give me one. What is an advantage of working groups? I forgot you were going to say something about working individually first. Yeah, I didn't mean to dismiss that. I was going to come back to that, and I forgot.
If you have the to-do list on the boards, they're always, when they come in, they're always engaged.
Okay.
The to-do list first, then you can afterwards shift to like a group study.
Yeah, so maybe when they're first coming in, settle down, you have some individual work. Yeah, that's pretty common. We're converting the world's introverts? Not sure about that. We have introvert rights. Introverts. Cool. So a lot of talk about discussion and communication. Are those important things?
Yes.
So are you going to get that if students are sitting quietly while you lecture? No, we will not be developing any of those things. So it's yet another thing why we've got to cut those lectures short, get students talking. Absolutely. Cool. All right. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. The next thing that we want to do today is we're going to do a little brainstorming about schools. And then we're going to but I want to use some technology to sort of enhance our brainstorming. We're going to do something called concept mapping. Yeah.
It looks like there's a bunch of bubbles, but they're all connected somehow.
Mhm.
And it's just a bunch of small ideas that feed into a bigger idea.
Yeah, it certainly could be. Doesn't have to be like that, but often you see like concept map structures that way. But the key idea is you've got these little bubbles and you connect them. Right? It sounds like such an amazingly simple thing. How could that be useful, right? And in the old days, we used to make our concept maps on paper. Yeah, you're gonna add something.
Sorry, real quick before you go, I have a question about the footprint.
Yes.
Is there a way to, like, if you did this, so every student would have to have a computer or some sort of tablet thing, right? And then, is there a way that they're not able to change out answers? Kind of be an issue where, like, students were sharing their work and then typing on each other's, like,
Yes.
responses?
Yeah. There's a lot of things. And I'm going to save some of this discussion for later, but essentially, so you've heard about this idea about class management, right? What's class management? Making rules for your class and making sure people follow them, right? We're keeping the classroom in line. The class management is different when you do something like this because you've got this digital sort of classroom experience, and so you have to use slightly different class management skills. Fortunately, there's some techniques that you can use, and you can lock things if you need to, and you can track people and see who did what if you need to. And so in some ways it's easier, but it is a different thing to have to learn. So, absolutely. Cool. Let's see. I'm going to scroll over here a little bit so I can get a new question. All right, who has done concept maps before? Well, that's actually a question on the quick write method. I appreciate the
Old school.
yeah, sometimes raising hands works just as well. But this is what's the nice thing about this? What's the advantage of this over raising your hand? Raising hand is quicker, it's easier, I can see it, I can get a nice visual, but I don't. You don't have a record of it? Exactly. This stays. I get to keep this in case I'm wondering, oh, what did we do last week or last year when I taught this class? Oh yeah, I can look on that quick write and see what questions I asked and see what people kind of respond to. So record is a very useful thing. Sometimes it's not useful, and maybe I won't ever look back on this, but at least I have that option. Cool. All right, so there's not too many people have experience with this. Good. There's lots of ways to do concept maps. Like I said, it's super easy, and it's a super easy concept map. But it actually can be really useful for kids. And one of the reasons it's useful is because it seems fun, right? You're doing stuff on the computers. You don't have to write an essay. You just have to fill in a little bubble. So it's a little bit less intimidating. These are brand new computers. So let's see if they have the software that I asked for on them. What do you think the odds are? So there's a very good program for doing concept maps called Inspiration. Let's check and see if it has Inspiration on here. I have a feeling it is on there. It's kind of an old version. So what I want you to do is on the desktops is go to the Finder. That's this little happy face down here in the bottom. And we're going to go there and we're going to go to Applications. So Applications should be on this first column somewhere. And if we scroll down to the eyes, we'll see if we have it in here. It's on my computer, I know that. So how many people see Inspiration there? All right, good. Victory. Open up Inspiration 8, please. And version 8, I think, came out like 5 years ago. I think it's pretty dated. Oh, 2005? Oh my. All right. We're not really keeping up our software very well here. And part of the reason is because there's free tools that can do the same thing. And Inspiration is not a free tool. It is somewhat better than the free tools. It has some nice bells and whistles. But there are other things. And if you don't have any budget to buy software with, you're going to use a free tool anyway. So that's good to know. So should we ditch this and just go to the free one? What do you think?
Yeah.
What's your feeling?
Yeah, it's we're not gonna use it.
All right, let's do that. I'll just really quickly show you what it looks like, and then we'll ditch this and go to the other one. This is the sort of the gold standard of concept mapping tools. It's got a lot of nice things. I can make an idea, then I can add another one, and it adds me another thing, and I can make another thing off of that. If I decide that maybe this one is connected to that, I can draw some extra arrows. It's got this cool rapid fire mode where I can type a bunch of things. And every time I type something and hit return, it makes a new, there we go, boom. So I can do rapid fire. So it's got cool things. Also, I can turn things into the earth and come up with other cool shapes. Anyway, these are all the things that we won't get to do if we don't use this tool. So anyway, well, we're gonna break into groups in a minute. I'm gonna have you work on this. You can decide for yourself if you'd like to use inspiration or if you'd like to use the free one. To do the free one, I'm gonna leave this here and I'm gonna go back to my browser. Guess where I'm gonna go? Of course, where else would we go? But this is not actually a Google product. It's a separate thing that was added that you can access through Google, right? Does that sound confusing? All right, this might be a little confusing at first. So please go to your drive, right? So again, that's drive.google.com. And it should look something like this. And we're gonna go to the now blue new button. Up until 3 weeks ago, it was a red new button. So all of our pictures have red buttons on them, but that was a blue one. All right. We'll just go, we just live in a Google world. Whatever they wanna do. All right, is everybody here-ish? Let me know if I don't want to go too fast because this part is a little complicated. So we're going to go to the new button. And as you can see, there's lots of things you can do here. You can upload files, or you can make new docs or new sheets, things like that. Those are all very fun. We're going to go, this is a little advanced Google stuff. So that's right. We're going to go down to where it says more, right? So you see where it says more here, and it gives you more options. Now, you don't have all the same options that I have because I have already added some of my stuff. So what I want you to do is to go to the bottom of where it says more, and it should say connect more apps. You guys see something like that at the bottom? So go ahead and say connect more apps. This is where we can access the free tools that connect with Google. And there's a lot. And I keep trying to find my favorite concept mapping tool. So I typed in the word concept map at the top, and it gave me sort of the main ones here. I'm trying to look down and see if there's anything new that looks promising. Yeah. All right. Let's go with this one called Mind 'em Up. I've used that lots of times. It sounds like a weird thing, but it's got a cool sort of cartoony face on it. Does everybody see something like that? If you don't see it, go ahead and type it into the search box here. MINDMUP. And it should come up with that. I'm trying to look. There seems like there's two of them. What's the difference? 2.0. All right, let's try the 2.0. Okay, Mind Up 2.0. All right. We'll watch the video. Nah, who needs a video? It's like reading instructions. It's way too much work. All right. So if you do that, it should say install. Did it install on yours? Or connect. You connect it, right? Yeah, so you click the blue connect box, and then basically what it's doing is adding it to your Google Drive, and it will ask for your permission. Give it some permission. And then, once you have that, does it open right away?
It's asking for a sign in.
You need to log in.
Oh yeah, you've got to log into Google. It needs to know who you are. Cool. It should, I think it opens up by itself. If not, you should be able to go to the new menu and go down to where it says more and you should see MindMup2 or Google Drive, and it should show up with something kind of like this. You need to log in before you can edit the map. So this must be the version 2 here. All right, so if you click on that and click on whatever account you're already logged into and tell it to allow, hopefully that will get you access. Cool. All right, raise your hand if your questions, concepts, not looking the same on yours as it does on mine. Cool, good. You guys are all really bad at this.
So,
That means it's classroom friendly.
All
right, very nice.
Yeah, I can access it. I can get in the same thing.
Excellent. Everybody's there. Fantastic.
Okay, so this is nice. Now, if you're going to do this in the classroom, what do your students need?
Computers.
Computers? What else? Internet, Wi-Fi. You got to have some Wi-Fi. Yeah, they need an account. That's the key thing. Now, you may not know this, but all students in LA have Google accounts. With being a student, Google has been very aggressive at sort of getting districts and schools to sign on. A lot of charter schools. I would say at this point, probably most schools in the country now give their students Google accounts. Right? Now, that doesn't mean they know them, right? That's the other thing. They have an account created by the district, they may not know how to access it, so you've got to find out how to get those accounts. All right, so hypothetically, if not, we can always do things with Inspiration if we have an old copy of Inspiration, or we can do things with pencil and paper or other fun activities like that. But this obviously is going to be more fun. All right, how does this work? It's been a while since I used it, so let's explore this together. It says press space or double click to edit. All right, so if I double click on this, I can now type things and I can say main idea. And you don't have to do a main idea with this, but a lot of times it's good to start with some main idea. And then I'm looking like it says, okay, insert child node. What do you think a child node is? Oh, where'd my child node go? All right. All right, so it looks like it's making it a different color. Is it doing that on yours? All right, good. So now if I wanted to then make another child node, I could do that.
You could also double click enter.
I could also what?
Double click enter for return.
If I double click, oh, then you can type, right? Is that what you're saying?
Just you hit return twice, like once you're done with it. And it'll
Oh, I see. If you hit enter, it gives you a child. That's handy. All right, the easiest way to get children. Cool. There's also something called insert sibling. What do you think that means?
It's a branch off the child.
A branch off the child?
Yeah.
The grandchild. What's a sibling? We'll try it. Somebody try it.
Another secondary one off the main idea.
Exactly, yeah. So if I sibling it, I get a second one off the main idea. And okay, oh, that's not how you spell it, but anyway, you get the idea. This is too small here. All right, how do you make things bigger on your screen, just in general? I can do what? How do I make a web page look bigger?
Control plus.
Control plus if I'm on a Windows. On a Mac, it's what? Command plus. So if I hit Command plus, we can see that. That's a little better. All right, much better. All right, so that's what we hit. How do I get smaller? Command minus. Absolutely. useful tricks when you're dealing with stuff on a projector and all that. All right, cool. All right, so it looks like we can make stuff. How do we change things? Let's say I decide this sibling here should not be there, but it should be connected to data. Can I drag it? No, I can drag it. It moves around, kind of. That's kind of cool. I like that effect. But how do I tell it to reconnect? Oh, I see what happened. Okay, so you drag it into the thing you want it to connect to. All right. Oh, that's cool. So if you drag it to something else and then it outlines in red, then it reconnects to that thing. All right, very good. How about if I want to make a second connection to two things? Let's see, there's got to be a way to do this. Connect to another node. All right. Oh, interesting. So what's the red line mean? So what I did is I clicked on something, and then I clicked connect to another node, and then I clicked a different thing, and it made a red line. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. But can you get another black line somehow? Interesting. All right. Well, we'll continue to play with this and learn as we go. But I need to give you an assignment. All right. Oh, we didn't talk about the reading yet. Oh, yeah, we got to do that. All right, no wonder I'm doing this all out of order. Cool. I saw a few of your responses, and I will look at the rest soon. Did you get a chance to see each other's responses? Cool. All right. So what were some of the takeaways from the paper? Did the paper seem sort of hopelessly pie in the sky and that will never work? No. Maybe a little. No. All right. I'm going to say that the paper is hopelessly pie in the sky. Why am I wrong? Why should we take this paper seriously? I'm talking about the reading, the children's machine. Yearners and schoolers. Who are the yearners, by the way? The people who want change. People want change, but don't sort of see a way to get there yet, right? Who are the schoolers? Well, what are we?
Yearners. No.
No?
No, we are. I'm just saying we kind of have them.
That sounds like the years. What about the school? I mean, we're all signing up for this thing called teaching, which is basically a school function. You must like school in some way.
I don't know. I'm kind of in between. Like, I can see the value of both. Like, I feel technology does enhance learning to a certain extent, but at some point there has to be sort of like that lecturing or, reading and writing and all those kind of old school things that people, I mean, you can't be everything on the computer. But, so I'm kind of like, I would embrace both sides.
So what is Pepper suggesting? How would he like to see schools change? Not all the yearners have the same vision of the future of school. What's Pepper have?
Seeing more computers and kids just having information, right? Compared to like having to go through books and books.
Yeah. And keep in mind, he wrote this before Google, right? He was imagining the sea of information. Nowadays, it's just that's what Google does, right?
It's
kind of talking too about how like an extension of when kids are young, they're just experiencing their world and just kind of continuing to extend that as they get older rather than cutting it off and changing in a moment like we do.
Well, yeah, do we do that? We cut them off from learning.
I think to tie together those last 2 points, I think that if kids do have that type of access to information, like from Google, let's say, they can discover something on their own in addition to us telling them. Otherwise, before Google, I mean, adults and teachers are a lot more oriented, I guess, in delivering it correctly.
Has that changed? Do we not have the authority to tell kids what to learn? A little bit. Actually, who tells kids what to learn?
I think kids tell kids.
Oh, that's true. Who else? Do we get to decide what we teach?
No, the government.
No. Who decides?
Laws.
Yeah, the people that write the standards, right?
Yeah, laws.
Yeah, I was lucky I got to teach before they had standards. They really could decide whatever. I mean, they had them, they just didn't really, they didn't really pay much attention to it. So we got to do a lot more of what we wanted to do. But now, of course, we've got these standards, we've got tests, we're being told what to do. So even we don't necessarily get to choose everything, right? But we'd like to. Why is it important to have kids deciding? Kids. Sorry, I'm not articulating this question very well. Why do you think it's important to? Why does Papper think it's important to let kids sort of continue their sort of natural?
Well, all kids learn like in different ways. So by using like new techniques, it's like a way to like kind of catch everyone. Like nobody like gets left behind.
Okay.
It keeps them motivated.
Yeah, if they're curious about what they're learning, they're gonna be more motivated. They're gonna get deeper maybe.
I think it comes to like exploration. They're more likely to be critical thinkers and less of just memorizing a bunch of facts. That they can actually teach themselves to a certain extent, certain concepts.
Yeah, if they're motivated to learn something, they're not going to just memorize a couple of points. They're going to really figure it out, right? Yeah.
I think technology can really help you apply concepts, which is really applying theory or whatever they call it, showing them how it works.
So is this really about, is it about technology or is it about the way to teach?
It's about the way to teach natural versus unnatural.
Yeah. What's the role? What does Pepper see the role of the technology? Why is it even about technology? Why is it about a machine?
I think there's a lot about that historically who's defined what knowledge is important, and so like machine gives an opportunity for more access and for students to find that for themselves and for other communities to find that for themselves.
Yeah, it used to be a lot about what the teacher did, right? The teacher knew something, and then they always try and teach it to. So now we're not limited to that teacher, right? Go beyond the teacher. We have access to all sorts of things. Do your students do that yet? A little bit, maybe. All right, we'll see how the semester goes. I'll ask you again. Cool. So what do you think Pepper's vision looks like? If he had his way and he was able to create his class, what do you think that would be like? Do you have a sense of it in the chapter? Could have made you read the whole book.
I kind of feel like I have no idea what his vision looked like. And I think that's the one thing about it. I think reading the book would be helpful to understand more because I felt like it was a lot of like idealistically, like, yes, this sounds great. This would be great. Nuts and bolts, like, what does that look like? And I think that I had a hard time figuring out what, because I think a lot of people want what he wants in just a certain degree. But it's, like the iPad thing in LAUSD, it's like always like, okay, well, how do we create that? It's always the
Patrick and then Ron.
You always support autodidactic kind of study. Because I mean, in his memorial, he also was saying that he founded that, getting all those computers to other nations or something, right? And so they might not have a, rigid teaching structure that we. I don't know. I just see it like seeing the sort of the tech as a vessel through which some more knowledge freedom can be attained.
Yeah, it's like we're saying, it gives you access to more things. Absolutely. Robert?
I was going to say that we're similar to John describing also how at the time the computers are seen as basically a tool for students to learn about themselves, self-directed. Also, I do think that one of the things that struck me about the as it was written in 1992 is how this is in general time with a lot of people, the explosion of technology, the computer revolution, virtual reality, all a bunch of things. This music was had a similar tone to me, looking at it, similar to a lot of the post-Cold War literature regarding that we're going to solve all the domestic problems we can and the whole world over education was one that's going to be revolutionized with many things that were in the games that were made in the 80s and 90s with respect to technology. And it was interesting because I remember having my computer classes, we were running at Apple IIs, and at the end of even when I was in fifth grade, and switched to Macintosh. But what's interesting about that was that it went from using the computers as a tool to just for, say, word processing or, say, writing or sound or story. More recently, students are learning things to code computers as so you understand as location.
Yeah, right. So I think one of the ideas that you're getting at is what's the role that the computer plays, right? Now, there's kind of two kind of dominant ways that people have been using computers. Is anybody familiar with things like Carnegie or Alex or what's that other one? There's a lot of math software that's out there. There's also something called iReady. That's some like if you're in Glendale, I think a lot of Glendale is using iReady. And what these basically are is you log in as a student, and then it tells you what problems you're going to work on that day. It's done some kind of, first thing you do is take some sort of diagnostic test, and then figures out where you are, and it gives you the lesson that you're supposed to be learning, and you kind of go through it on the computer, and then it gives you the next lesson. It tells you if you did it right, or if you need to go back and redo it, and then you go, and you pretty much just follow along the computer. What's good about that?
Actually, the class that I'm in, it's the same. The teacher does the same thing. She has the computer pretty much teaching, actually, like the whole year almost, and then 2 days out of the week she'll, like in her class she'll talk, but the rest of them in the computer. And what's good about them is that they focus on the computer because they have headsets and they're not getting as distracted as they do in the classroom setting, and it's more. The computer keeps going, so they're kind of always engaged.
Yeah, they're always engaged. They're always working the whole period. They're solving problems and getting feedback and being told if they did it right or not, which is really nice. So you get a lot of sort of personal attention. It's from a computer, not from a teacher, but it's personal.
I want to emphasize because I think this is a graph, right? These students are like lower level in math, so this really helps them to critical think and solve problems.
Can they go at their own pace?
Yeah, they can go.
So you can go at your own pace. And
they have exams like each session, each chapter has an exam at the end. And the teachers use their scores. And sometimes they let them do, let's say, if you have a low score, she lets them do it again, get a higher score.
Or they don't let them pass, like the computer doesn't let them move on unless they get 100% on the last test.
Is it the diagnostic test? Does that show like what level? So then they start at their level, or does it all like push?
right, so everybody starts where they need to be based on the shoulder. Yeah, so these sorts of tools have become pretty popular. A lot of districts have paid big bucks for these things, but they're not universally loved. What can you imagine are the downsides of a tool like that? I see a lot of you. Sorry, over here.
they can be really frustrating to work with. I know that when I had to do physics and chemistry online, we had the numbers, and it would just be frustrating because it would say it's wrong, but there's no hint. It's just like you entered the wrong value. And it's like a computer, so you feel like, like I'm spending $10.
The good ones will give you some hints, but they don't always. Yeah.
Just from like my experience, like college, I think some of my homeworks were on my mom's like my math lab. It was just frustrating because I could see myself just trying to get the task done rather than just learning how to do it. I just wanted to get the right answer.
Just trying to get through it.
And then it would come to the test, and I would have no idea how to do it because I didn't want me to show my work. They just wanted the answer. So I feel like here's a kind of skips a step, and in my company, for example, kids aren't learning the process.
Yeah, it doesn't engage you socially that same way that doing a lab would.
Over the summer, I worked at Opportunities for Learning. There, all the courses are all English through a program.
Yeah.
So that exactly like you said, all the kids just try to rush through all their quizzes, and then when they got to the test, they kept failing over and over and over and over again because they rushed through all the quizzes. So that's I think would be a negative.
Cool. I think there were a couple more hands here.
I remember when I was in 10th grade, my geometry class had a similar program for math, and I remember I did the whole work for the whole semester in 2 weeks. So then I just chilled the rest of the semester and I distracted everyone.
Okay, that's certain negative to that. Although good that you got the work done. Yeah.
Computer programs like that don't provide students with sympathy or empathy, which teachers can provide. Like if a student isn't able to do a certain problem, a computer can kind of assure the student that they can do it. They're just showing that they're getting it wrong each time.
Yeah, we get to be cheerleaders too, right? That's part of our role.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like when you're doing something like that, it's kind of like you make a phone call and you get an automated voice messaging system, and you're like, I just want to talk to a person. Like I have to have that human.
In my experience tutoring kids were irate. A lot of them learned a way to game the system. So if they had a wrong answer, they knew a workaround or glitch where they could reset their login, and the answer that they were wrong would actually just be blank again, so they could keep trying. So instead of using their minds to actually solve the problem,
that's a way of solving it.
And a lot of them would just fast forward through
they're just solving a different problem than you want them to.
Yeah. So they're critically thinking for the wrong reason.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I could see how it could work maybe with math and stuff, but I'd also being in a social studies teacher, I could question how it works with more interpretive ideas and questions. Not that I could, but
yeah, I'm sure somebody's working on it. So yeah, I think you guys did a great job of talking about both the strengths and the weaknesses with this. And districts are learning that again it works for some of the students some of the time, but it's not. It doesn't solve things. We can't really get rid of teachers just yet, and that's good news for us, right? Yeah, I mean there definitely have been some real horror stories of kids that just get stuck in front of the computer the entire semester, start losing it. So we hopefully won't see too much of that, but the tools can still be good as well. All right, and so I think bringing this back to the reading is this idea that Papert would not be at all very excited about these what we call personal tutors or intelligent tutors. Cognitive tutors is another word you see sometimes. Because he wants the computer to be a tool. He wants this to be something that students are using in order to figure out what they want to do, not something where the computer's telling the kids what to do. So he would be very much sort of against that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's interesting, he was describing computers as the way as a possible way for students to expand their minds into actually obtain literacy as opposed to being described as literacy or rote memorization. also lead to diversity and lack of basically sort of going along with teacher tests and things like that. So it's just basically formula opposed to a variety of different businesses.
Right, right. So in other words, getting that good, meaningful learning that we'd all love to see, those someone lose something. So Pavard has this really interesting history. So he actually proposed most of this stuff back in 1969 when he really first started working on this. He had been this engineer. He was a scientist. He was working on sort of brain science and stuff, and then he went and talked to Piaget. You guys know who Piaget is? Who's Piaget? All right. So when you do your PACT and you talk about theory, education theory, you're going to talk about Piaget and this idea of constructivism. And hopefully in your ed psych class, we all have for ed psych.
Jeffers?
Jeffrey. Okay, good. So make sure Jeffries tells you who Piaget was. I'm sure she'll get to it. And so he's a very important person in sort of the theory of how people learn and stuff. And Papert went and talked to them, and then he developed all these ideas about do we create some kind of a machine that would help people do all these things. Of course, this is back in the 60s when none of the stuff existed, so he tried to invent it all. That was his thing. And then as microcomputers started coming out, and personal computers became a thing in the 80s, he did manage to convince Costa Rica to buy computers for all their kids, which was kind of interesting, and the state of Maine. It was very odd. Like most people ignored him, but like there's a couple of places where he would like get to talk to the president and convince him because he was very convincing when you talk to him in person. But his ideas didn't really catch on in a big way until maybe about 30 years later. And nowadays you hear a lot of people saying the same kinds of stuff that he was talking about. Except nowadays we're hearing people talk about how this is the end of schooling. Right, we're going to blow up the school, and everybody's going to be homeschooled on their computers and figuring out whatever they're interested in learning. I don't buy it. I don't see that happening. But there's a lot of people talking about it. I'll find some videos we can watch, get a flavor of that. But there's a lot of people saying, well, now that we have Google, we don't need teachers anymore, or now that people can learn anything on their own, we don't just get rid of school. There's a lot of reasons why I don't think that works. And not least of which is that people tend to play video games. So anyway, so we don't envision that coming, but we do envision that teaching is going to be changed as a result of all this technology, and we don't need to teach when the War of 1812 was if we can Google it, right? Yes. So this is definitely gonna change the way we do things. And so what I want to do for this activity is to try to envision what you think the classroom of the future is going to look like, right? And in particular, we want sort of your vision of what you think the classroom of the future is going to look like. And if it involves everybody being homeschooled, that would be sad. But if that's yeah, I don't think that's a great idea. All right, so here's what I want you to do. Where did my course page go? So some of you probably already read this. So what we're going to do is we are going to, where's my instructions? All right. All right, classroom design concept maps. That's what I'm looking for. All right. Oh, it doesn't give a detailed description. All right, so I'll have to make it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to get together in groups and invent. This is an ideal classroom, but I feel like the classroom's too small. We need to invent the ideal school. Right? Does that make more sense? Yeah. I think so. So I want you to come up with your ideal utopian futurist school. And if you don't want computers there, that's fine. I won't be offended. So what do you think how people should be learning in, say, 10 years? What do you want that awesome school when you get to be in charge of the school? So it's like if I run the zoo. Cool. All right. So if we can get into groups of like 3 or 4, how would that work? Are we sitting in good groups, or do we want to move around? Kind of like moving. like musical chairs or something?
No.
Or why don't we just group up where we're at? And so we'll try to find groups of 3 and 4, and we just look around and identify a group to work with.
So you want to do like words, or you want to do like pictures, or?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it on concept.
Oh, okay.
Cool. All right, do we have groups? Okay. All right. At least one person in your group needs to have a concept map. So you're gonna have. All right. So what we can do here is we can go and I'm going to create a new file. Okay, hold on. Before we talk, let's just make sure we understand what we're doing. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a concept map. Start with the center of your concept map be the name of your school. So you have to come up with some good name. Super awesome school. All right, and then you will tell me what the features of your school are. Feel free to include graphics. I'm pretty sure mine love to add graphics.
Yeah, they can add.
Yes, there's a picture. You can see there. So if you're here, you can click on graphics. Oh wow. Cool. Okay. So come up with your super awesome school. If you want, you can share it with people. So then multiple people can work on it at the same time with the share feature. So you can share it with the others in your group. It's right there. All right, we're going to use that as a tool to organize our thinking.
Okay, how about the Good for now. Is this okay?
Characteristics of
Yeah,
school 10 years from
so
now.
let's see.
So like smaller classrooms, virtual reality, things like that. Or
I like it. Yeah,
yeah.
cool. And then try to sort of organize them into different parts.
What do you mean by that? I mean,
So you might have like structure of the school, and that would be your smaller class sizes.
yeah,
Right. So then,
like a
and then technology. You might have a technology thing, and then
and then off technology
exactly.
list.
Then you get what I'm saying.
That VR. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I sat with my tech service guy and completed your, the survey, and he had mentioned Nuvera. Are you familiar with that? That's like a wall concept or something that kids can throw things up on the wall. It's really cool. It's a very cool site.
Check that out. That
Yeah,
sounds
check it
neat.
out. He said
Nuvera.
Nuvera. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff like that. I tend to mostly stick to a projector and a computer,
But then I said, like, this is a touch screen. Do you consider school to be high tech? The last person in the survey, right? How many laughed? He said, look, this school is 50 years ago. They couldn't bring an iron system into the line if you want some. I mean, that's typically we have to rip out nearly everything. Anyway, if not, he doesn't see any hope.
Okay. Publishing. Okay, I put the timer up here. We need a complete school in 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Well, think about it. It is like true. Because everybody is feeling like there's the long together. So if you I would say it's easier to especially because you know Yeah. Yeah. So like, if you have if somebody says they'll be sensitive about truths. And also, you're not the incident explode. You don't like just like I think that's right.
Yeah, it's like on the
Sorry. Don't mind me. You have 3 minutes left. Get your ideas down. Download button.
The reason why I think that's important is because when they go into college, they're going to get structured focus of what they're going to do, right? And if socialize, but if you don't have that foundation, you will see just scientists and business
I think we're probably done. Okay, that's good. I feel like That's right. There you go. Yeah, it's like
Or there's no like
All right, so you got something? All right, good, good. Oh, we're almost, your alarm's about to go. No, I tried. Oh, you know, I know. Is that minute? Oh, that is your alarm clock. Okay, if you ever need a timer, you just type the word timer into Google and it pops up. It's very handy. Right, I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, so we're just about out of time. I gotta do a couple of things, so we might go a few minutes over. Is that okay? Yeah. All right, good. Not that you had a choice there. Okay, so hopefully you've got a pretty good thing. Next week we want to hear about your schools, so we're gonna talk about those next week. But for now, I just want to make sure everybody has access to them. So I want you to do sharing in 2 ways, right? So I was playing around with this publish button, and that seems to not do what we want. It puts it on some public display thing, and that's not what we want. So we're gonna stick with share. And you'll notice this is this confusing thing because this is not a Google product. This is the MindMup company made this software, but it's within Google. And so when you click on the share button, you'll notice that the good old Google share window pops up. Like, oh, that's weird. And so what I want you to do is 2 things. First of all, put the emails for everybody in your group on there so that everybody in your group can edit it. So you would put in here, befoley@csun.edu, like this. And so you may need to talk to each other about what their emails or have people enter it themselves. That's fine like that. And make sure it says can edit, right? So the different options here are edit, comment, or view. I tried the comment. It doesn't seem to do anything else. There is no comment button in MindMup, so you can't do that. But it's part of Google, so they left it in. Cool. So make sure people can edit it. And then the top button where it says get a shareable link, make sure you can get a shareable link so that people can view it. Right? And this is the link that we're going to put into the Moodle. Right? So this link right here where it says get other people who are not named, who did not specifically give their email, other people can view it. So you're going to copy that field, and we're going to go to Moodle, and where it says Classroom Design Concept Maps. Only one person in your group needs to do this, but make sure you put people's names on it so I know who's who. Not that it's graded anyway, but just because that's good. Give credit. And go ahead and add a new discussion topic and say, super awesome school. Spell, that would really help. All right, so you say something about who did it, and then we're not going to upload a file, but we're going to actually just paste the URL right here, right? And one thing we noticed is sometimes when you paste the URL, it turns into a link, and sometimes it doesn't. You can paste it there to make sure it becomes a link. That seems to be dependent on your browser. It's very odd. Anyway, so you're going to paste something like that and post it to the forum. All right, cool. All right, so one person in each group, please do that. Also, make sure that everybody is shared on there as an editor in case you have some brilliant idea over the week. You want to add something to it that's not going to piss off the rest of your group. So anyway, and then we'll talk about these next week. And all right, let me shut up for a minute. Let people do that. All right. Okay, so let me just say a little bit about this week's homework. We have a very short reading, not like last week. This is a very short reading. I think it's about 5 pages long. Also fairly dated. Signing really old papers for people. It's from a book called Teachers and Machines, which is a great book, and it deals with all kinds of technology up until like the 80s. And so you get a bit of the history that this thing where we're trying to get teachers to use the new technology is not a new concept. People have been doing this with teachers for 100 years. It started with chalkboards, right? And overhead projectors, and I don't know, are people old enough to know about film strips? When I was in school, it was all about film strips. And it was a beat, and then you had to switch to the next thing. But that was the technology of the day.
We got an error here. We're trying to share it, but it says you are sharing with Zane. She's not in. Did you get the email right? Not sure about that.
It says you have to share with C4s only.
Oh, yeah, if the person who made it was using their CSUN email,
Yeah.
that might be a thing. I'm not, well, we can see if there's a workaround. Okay, so homework for this week, reading the chapter, the intro chapter from Teachers and Machines. So you get a little historical context. All you history teachers out there will appreciate that. It's also fairly political, but we'll talk about that. Anyway, just a little preview of what's coming up next week after we talk about the utopian classrooms. We're gonna start doing video. And so we're gonna play around with how do we record video, how do we edit video, how do we post video, and learning how YouTube works. YouTube has lots of cool features on it. So we're gonna learn all about that. We're gonna spend 2 weeks on video. Then we've got this week where you don't necessarily need to come, and we're going to learn about parts of the computer, yada, yada, and other fun stuff coming up. A couple of things. We know that November the 11th is Veterans Day. So it's a school holiday on Friday. You will not be here. I will not be here. The school will be closed. So we're going to do this one from home. I'll put a little note on it to remind you. So this particular activity, and I picked this one. I had to rearrange a bunch of stuff because this one I think is going to be good, and people tend to be really quiet when they do it anyway. So it's less fun. It's less active. So if you're going to be all quiet, you might as well be at home. All right, then we've got a week here, and then we've got another week off because we have Thanksgiving. All right, and this of course is what my Thanksgiving looks like. Cool, and then we've got a couple of weeks after Thanksgiving where we'll wrap things up. And so that's sort of the basic outline. We've got those 2 weeks off in November. We've got another 1 week in where I'll be here, and you're welcome to come, but it's going to be somewhat optional. You can come. I'll do the recording thing, and you can actually follow along with the. I mean, if you're like home and you're like, oh, what's Foley talking about? You can log in. Cool. I've also posted a couple of links at the top of the page. One is, that's interesting. I don't remember posting that. And I definitely deleted that. All right, this is very confusing. All right, so one is the 514 quick write. So we'll use the same quick write in future weeks, and we can just go to the link at the top. And what this one was supposed to be was a link to the recordings. So if you ever miss a class, you know where to go to find the recordings. That's going to be there. I think that's everything I've got for right now. Oh, no, there's one more thing. The technology inventory. How many people have started asking around? All right, very good. Do some research first. Talk to your cooperating teacher. Find out. The idea is you want to find out all the technologies that are available to your classroom. So if you're in the English department and the science department has a computer lab, that doesn't count. That's not for you. You gotta do things, everything that's available in your particular classroom. Anybody not in the classroom yet?
Yeah, I wonder, like.
All right, so we'll talk. So basically the idea is you get to find a classroom anywhere. You can use one of your CSUN classrooms or something else. You're gonna get in the classroom soon?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully. Well, I hope so. By the way, you're all talking about taking over the classroom. It is way too early for that. Can I just say, your cooperating teachers need to back off, and then you have some time. You gotta work this out. Some cooperating teachers are really annoying that way. If you have trouble, talk to your supervisor and say, "Hey, my supervisor wants me to do this, but Foley says I'm not supposed to do it yet." What do you think? Supervisors are good people. Have you guys talked to your supervisors yet?
No. Just email.
Yeah. All right, all your supervisors were here today. Should have made them. They were all here this morning. We had our supervisor meeting. So they know you may be getting an email if you haven't heard from them. Kind of shame them. All the
people that haven't reached out to their students yet. Anyway, they don't get paid much. They're really sweet, all of our supervisors. They're mostly retired teachers. They've been doing this for a long time, so they're awesome. They're not great with the technology. That's why I was there. Anyway, so we had a fun supervisors meeting this morning. And those poor supervisors have to use technology. We're making them do it. All right, questions, comments before we break? Joel, Patrick, are you leading the beer charge? No, you're busy.
Oh, no, I am though. So if you want to hustle with me to the pub across the way, it's open till 4.
Oh, the oh yeah, they have good beer over there.
Yeah.
Very good. There you go. That's enough then. Let's go. Cool. All right. Have a good week, everybody. You know where to reach me if you had any questions. And I'm going to turn the recording off before we get in trouble.